Pilates Fusion. So it's Wednesday morning. As always, we're going to take a few moments to kind of pay attention to the breath and to get settled. You are welcome to simply lie down on your back. If for any reason that's problematic today, you can certainly choose another pose to sit in, to be in. I like to, especially early in the morning, I like to try to open the chest up a little bit. So you can do that either by laying on the ground and simply extending the arms, or if you've got some props like a rolled up blanket or a couple of yoga blocks or a pillow, you can lie down on that so that your chest is a little bit lifted, and that will help shift the shoulder into a more neutral position, give us a little bit of space around the chest, and help access the secondary breathing muscles that we'll need when we're trying to hold our abs in and breathe at the same time. So if you are up for it, I'm going to use a pillow today, but you can use 2 blocks or again a blanket in place of that. And I've placed this pillow the same way I would place a block, and so it is up so that my shoulder blades are resting on it, but not much else below that. Now the pillow's more forgiving because it's a softer surface. If you use a yoga block, you want the bottom of the block to be pretty much right where your shoulder blades are, so it doesn't poke you in between the ribs or in the spine. Instead, the shoulder blades will basically just hold you on it. So it should be high up your back. Pillows and blankets, much more forgiving. They can come down a little bit lower. Now you can keep the legs in constructive rest position where the feet rest on the floor with the knees up. You can extend your legs out, or you could do a little butterfly shape where you put the feet together and let the knees drop open. So that's up to you. Choose appropriately. And then we'll take a few moments just to clear our mind. Well, my mind, your mind, we're going to clear our mind. My mind. And to allow this shoulder area to relax. So sometimes I like it better with the arms a little closer, sometimes with the arms a little farther away. So fiddle with it till you like the way it feels. Or it's interesting anyway. And then breathe deep enough, occasionally flaring out the rib cage to get some movement there. But also breathing nice and deep into the abdominal muscles. Notice if there's tension, like maybe between the eyebrows or around your mouth, and try to soften those places, making them a little more receptive. About 1 more minute here just to breathe. nice big breath. Then go with a big deep exhale. And then you can go ahead and take the things out from underneath you that are there. So either slipping out your blocks or your blanket or whatever you're using. And then when you come back onto your back, just notice where it landed you. Almost always for me, there's this kind of sense, whatever prop I use, of the upper back kind of spreading out or feeling a little wider or softer. I like to check and see, does it feel like my arm bone has dropped back into the socket a little bit? I sleep curled up in a ball, so it tends to shorten and tighten the muscles at the front of the shoulder. So I like to notice if that has released a bit. Sometimes I have to stay a little longer depending on the day, but it works out okay if it's a little bit better. So we're going to give ourselves a really big long stretch from fingertips to toe tips, and then we're going to curve over into a banana shape. Now you can release the arms a little bigger. They don't have to stay way up high over your head. Sometimes for me with the shoulder it feels better to be almost more like a cactus. You can take the leg that's on the outside of the curve. So I curved towards the right. So my right side is curled in and my left side is the stretchy side. So I can put my left ankle over my right ankle, and that gives my IT band a little bit more length, a little more intensity, or you can just leave the legs as they were. And we're going to take a few deep breaths. So notice how I have it rolled onto my side so that I get this really good side flexion. And I start to move a little bit of the muscles in the side waist, the obliques and the outer hip, and all my spinal muscles that are helping me do this as well. Just nice deep breaths. Take one more big breath there. And then we're going to meander back to the center and see if anything changed. Now sometimes I feel a little bit longer on the side that was in the stretched, on the stretch side. Sometimes it even feels like my hip gets closer to the ground. But just notice what's true for you. Now I like to do either little windshield wipers in between sides or pull my knees into my chest. So you could do that if you like. And I'm just allowing the fluid basically in my connective tissue to go back where it came from. Because when we move the spine in different directions, fluid gets moved around. So it's nice to kind of allow some of that to happen. And then we're going to move the opposite direction into the little banana. So we're opening up all this tissue on the side waist, the outer hip. Again, you could cross the ankle over if you like. Try while I'm here and breathing to sort of allow myself to notice if I'm carrying any tension. Sometimes just getting into a shape like this makes me tense up like around my shoulders or around my mouth. And so just checking into those places and making my whole sort of countenance a little more receptive to the pose, getting a little softer is helpful. going to take one more big breath. And then just meander back to the center and see if things feel a little bit more even, a little longer, a little softer. And again, I'm going to do these little windshield wipers, but you could do a knees into the chest kind of back massage if you like. All right, so we're going to leave the feet resting on the floor. We're going to take the hands and place them behind the head, pressing the head back into the hands so that the neck is nice and stable. We're going to use the abdominals that are located at the center part of the abs, a lot of the upper ab generally. We're going to curl ourselves up, pressing the head back into the hands to make the abs do the work here rather than the neck, and then come on back down. So we're going to try to memorize that sensation of the neck being there to stabilize the head, but the actual work being done by the abs. So press your head back, exhale on the curl up, inhale as you come down. And the most we're doing is we're lifting the bottom of the shoulder blade off the mat, but it doesn't even require that much. We're really just trying to train these abdominals to do the work and to train the neck to not try to help. So 2 more. Memorizing that feeling. Excellent. So now we're going to take hold of our right leg, let the left leg relax out. If you can pull the right leg in, awesome. If not, don't worry about that part. Just bring it up and then spin your right foot in circles. Go the opposite direction with your foot. And then we're going to point and flex at the ankle. Try to spread the toes out and squeeze them together as we go. So we're going to take that leg and just see if we can extend it again. You don't have to hold on to it. You can let it go. Push the heel out and away from you. See how far it wants to go. And then bring it back in. We'll do that one more time, kind of stretching the heel away. Now let go. And you can either keep pressing up through the heel or you can press the toes straight up. I like to press up through the ball mound of the big toe. So it's a little bit, for me that engages a little bit more muscle in my deeper calf by pressing up. So the way the muscle is structured there. So then I'm going to hug my shoulder blades under, press my upper arms into the floor, rotate this left leg so that the toes point straight up, and dig my heel into the ground a little bit. So now I've got my abdominal muscles hugging in through the sides, my shoulders pressing into the floor, and this left leg really active. Then I'm going to take that right leg across and come out and around in a circle. And I want to hold the torso completely stable while this leg is making this range of motion. Make sure the range of motion feels appropriate for you and doesn't feel like it's hurting your hips. So if you need to do a smaller circle, do that. Keep activating all of the abdominals, hug in through the sides of the waist. Press the leg into the ground, press the upper arms into the ground and the shoulders. Good. When you get to the top, we're going to pause, go out to the side, bring the legs together, and then come straight up the center. So again, we're really working that side waist as that leg goes out. Stabilizing one more time. Good. Bring that leg up, and then we're going to bend the knee, put the foot on the ground. Pause for a moment, leaving that left leg straight. We're going to take that right leg across to the left. You can hold onto it with your hand, and then we'll just allow the side of the hip to stretch as we reach out into this twist. If you want a little bigger stretch and you have the range of motion for this, you can grab your big toe with your peace sign fingers and try to straighten out that right leg. It takes a very bendy person, y'all. Be kind. We got 2 more breaths. Beautiful. So we're going to come on back to the center. Put both feet on the floor. Pause for a moment. Notice if you feel any differences between the right hemisphere and the left. And again, for me, there's a difference. Now, what we're doing when we do this, we perceive what we feel, is we're becoming conscious of the signals that are coming from our fascia up to the brain. And so we're reinforcing neural pathways that are also responsible for helping the body relax. And we're getting some information about the overall way the practice is impacting us, okay? And again, this is mostly information coming from our fascia, from our connective tissue, not information that's necessarily coming from the muscles themselves, okay? The fascia has way more nerve endings. All right, so we're gonna do these little curls again. Now you can do exactly what we did last time, especially if you're really working on the neck muscles staying stable. You can also, if you like, bring the knees up, and then we'll do both, curling the upper body and bringing the lower body up and coming back down, still pressing the head back into the hands, curling up and coming back down. Exhale on the curl, inhale on the down. Keep that head stable. Two more. And if you like, one bonus round. Okay, so then we're gonna let the right leg rest, have the left leg in, and give that left foot a nice little spin. Try to feel the ankle joint. Is there a bigger range of motion that you could get? Go the other direction. Point and flex the foot. Try to spread the toes out and squish them together along the way. All right, so again, being kind, we're gonna see if we can stretch this leg out and then bend at the knee. Give it a little hug. Okay? See. Don't try to fool your hamstrings. They'll tell you that they're being torn, so be kind. Maybe your leg doesn't need to go all the way straight for you to feel that in the back of your thigh. Hug it in. Okay, last one. All right, so we're gonna take this leg and reach it up. I need to move a little bit so I've got enough room to do this. All right, so the left leg is gonna go up straight again. You're gonna either point through the toes, reach through the heel, or reach through the ball of the foot. Take this right leg, turn it. So we're internally rotating the hip a little bit, holding that steady, digging in. Sides of the waist come in, upper body snuggled under you, pressing down into the floor. So go across your body, make a circle out and around, try to hold that hip super stable by drawing in through the sides of the waist and anchoring all these other points. It's not easy to pay attention to that much stuff all at once, but do your best. One more time. When you get all the way up to the top, we're gonna pause there, take the leg out to the side, bring the legs together, come straight up the center. Hold steady through the side waist as best you can. Two more. And then bring that leg in, bring the other one in. Give yourself a moment. You can pause. You can give yourself a little back massage. Whatever's gonna work the best. All right, yogis, we're gonna do the roll up. So some of you will be able to do the roll up very smoothly and very slowly all the way through the whole range of motion. Coming all the way up to sitting, stretching over the legs, rolling all the way back down. Some of us wind up having to use the hip flexors more than we would like to kind of force ourselves upright. So what I do is break it down into two halves so that I have to be more honest and actually use my abdominals to do the work. So that's the way I'm going to roll. So I'm going to do the first half. Again, I'm going to use the hands behind the head, and then I'm going to curl myself up as far as I can go in one sitting. So I'm pushing my head back, curling myself up as far as I can go without that point where I have to force myself forward or make my hip flexors do the work. And then we'll do the other half. So if you can smoothly roll up, go for that. You can reach the arms forward. But if you're working on the neck, we'll keep doing that. So we're going to curl up and come back down. Now you can keep rolling all the way through the motion or follow along. Trying to keep my neck out of it. Force my abdominals to do more of the work. Now I'm going for as high as I can get off the floor, which sometimes is not very high. But I'm making my abs do the work. One more. So now I'm going to come to the seated position, and I can finish the work by doing the second half of it, which is the rolling back part. So first, sitting up tall, hinging from the hips as far forward as they'll let you go. Then coming up, we're going to curl the spine back and roll as far down as we can. As soon as I feel my hip flexors start to catch, I stop there. Sit up tall, fold forward however far it'll let you. Curl back until I feel the abs start to let go. And then I come back up, sit up tall, fold forward. So this way it just keeps me honest, and it keeps me doing the work with my abs instead of relying so much on my really powerful hip flexors, which all of us have powerful hip flexors. I watched this lady on the internet once use her hip flexor to fold a frying pan into a cone. So, hip flexors are powerful, y'all, that's all I'm saying. So we're going to do this. I'm going to do this one more time. You guys are going to complete your roll up if you're doing the full version. You're going to come all the way up and stretch over your legs to the degree that makes sense to your body. And then we're going to come up to all fours. So once you've completed your roll up, you've stretched over your legs, given yourself a moment there, then come up to all fours. I'm going to secure my hair one more time before I get there. And then I'll join you. All right. So I'm going to face my fingertips forward, and I'm going to put my hands just a little bit forward of my shoulders to make the wrist a little less bent. And then I'm going to round the back and then let the back sway and try to open up across the collarbones and the upper back. A couple times going this way. Okay, so then I'm going to turn my hands out to the sides and do the same thing. Couple rounds of cat, trying to broaden across the lower back on the rounded one, and across the upper back on the swayed version. Now if you want a couple more rounds of that, that's fine. I'm going to turn one hand forward and one hand backwards, and when you turn your hand backwards, spin the fingers to the outside rather than the inside. And then as I round and give that lower back a bit of a space, I'm going to lean back into the wrist stretch to the degree that feels appropriate. And then come back and rinse that out a little. I'm going to put the top of my hand on the floor, and then I'm just going to lean myself back into that cat shape. And then come back. All right, so that hand's going to face forward. The other hand's going to face backwards. I'm going to round. As I stretch that lower back, I'm going to lean back into this wrist stretch. just the hand. Put the top of my hand on the floor. Lean back into that stretch and just try to press my hand down so I'm stretching out through the top of the wrist. It doesn't move the same way as the bottom for sure. Okay, so now that I've gotten my wrists a little stretched out, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of time to let that relax as I take a little twist into my shoulders. So knees a little bit wide. Take one arm, I'm going right arm first, underneath the opposite armpit. You can reach that opposite arm, in this case my left arm, around behind your back. You can use it, the way I use it is I push the floor so that I can dig my shoulder in and stretch a little bit more towards the back. Or you can use it for a pillow. So whatever's gonna be right for your neck and your shoulder. And for me, it helps sometimes to move the hips a little bit so I can find, like, where's the tension today? Keep the neck nice and relaxed and the head relaxed on the floor, if you can. So 2 more breaths. And we're gonna come out of there, give it a little bit of a rinse. Notice. Now, I'm going to take my right arm and reach it up forward, so I'm going to start with my left leg, and then I'm going to reach that right arm out, hug in through the sides of the waist, do a little spinal balance just to start here. Now, if you can do it, you're going to bring the elbow and the knee together and curl in. You might even be able to touch the elbow and the knee, or even touch your forehead to your knee. If that's too wobbly, put your hand down and curl in just with the leg. Okay. 2 more. Nice, reach it out. We're going to take that knee back down, take both knees apart, taking this left arm, bringing it underneath. And again, we'll do this little twisty child's pose. I don't know what to call this pose. Right, yogis, take one more big breath. And then we're going to come out of there. Give that left hand a little bit of a rinse. Then that arm's going to go straight out, and the opposite leg, right leg. Reach, hug in through the sides of your waist. Stretch. And a nice big breath. Exhale, curl in. Stretch out. Curl it in. Stretch it out. 2 more. Good reach. Lower everything down. Now, if you want one more moment in child's pose, you can certainly take it. You can take a downward facing dog. So I'm going to put my hands about shoulder distance apart. Tuck the toes. Trying to pull my hips back far enough away that my wrists are not in any kind of trouble. And then move the muscles around on the upper back. Get your shoulder blades sliding up and down. Find the spot that feels like they make the best connection. And then walk your heels up and down. All right, yogis. We're going to walk the hands and feet towards each other. When you're hanging up in a forward bend, you can always come to the halfway forward bend instead. But if it feels okay to hang upside down, do. Rinse out your wrists, your arms. And then we're going to take the legs a little on the wide side. So I'm a little wider than an average yoga mat. Turn the toes out a little. I'm going to bend my left knee and sway my torso up over that knee, and then I'm gonna try to exchange which knee is bent, right? Straightening out toward the left, bend the left knee, lean into it. See if I can straighten out the left leg, bend the right knee. Be kind. You can come up a little higher with your torso as you need. All right, so we're gonna come back to the center. Lift up about halfway, exhale and fold. Come over to the right. Right knee is bent to start. And then I'm gonna try to straighten that leg and bend the left. Come on back. Straighten it out. Coming back. We'll come back to these ideas later. Beautiful. Do it one more time, straightening out a little bit or a lot. And then we're coming back to the middle. Heel toeing my feet in a little bit, come up halfway. And then all the way to standing. Give it a great big stretch when you get there. Okay. Work out any wardrobe malfunctions you might need to correct for. You can grab a little sip of water, and then we're going to meet up in mountain pose. Make my mat a little stickier. Okay. So toes are pointing forward as best we can. Shoulders relaxed. Now I don't turn the arms out, a lot of people do, but I do not, because I already have enough tension in my shoulders. I don't need to add more. So instead for me, the work, if that's the right word, anti-work, is to relax the shoulders and let the chest and the shoulder become more receptive, a little softer. And then to avoid poking my rib cage out, so I connect my hips and my hips and my ribs together, and then hold steady. So we're gonna take a big breath and come into chair pose. From chair pose, we're gonna put all the weight into the right leg, pick the left leg up if you can. You're gonna put that ankle across. So you could put the ankle across the shin or the thigh. We can maintain the arms, maintain it, otherwise you can take the arms down. One more big breath here. Good, we're gonna try to take this left leg and reach it back. Oh, and without stepping back yet, and potentially wobbling a lot. We're gonna see if we can hold the warrior three for a moment. Maybe with the arms extended up or maybe back. Oh, it might fall apart, y'all. Take in one more breath. Now we're gonna step that leg back into a warrior two. It's fun, it's very exciting. All right, so snuggle your hips in so that it feels nice and we're not dragging the knee around too much. So I want this hip to be aligned so that my inner thigh stays stable and my knee stays stable over my ankle. I'm gonna come back to reverse warrior and over to a side angle. So this is the mermaid. And I really want this side waist as I come over this way to really lengthen. And then this is a shorter lengthening of the side waist, but still getting that nice space. So as I come over, lift through the inner thigh to create a little more space there. One more. All right, so we're gonna come all the way back, straighten out the front leg, come into triangle pose. Now again, you can do triangle in lots of different ways. So you're just gonna decide on the way you're gonna do it today. I like to try to get like a little bit of a pulsation when I come into a yoga pose, come out a little bit, try again with a slightly different alignment. So I'm exploring how the pose feels. You can look down or up. The top arm can extend or you can bind it, okay? So there's lots of options. I want to feel if I'm like bullying my hips or my hamstrings or anything like that a little too much. So nice big breath here. And then we're gonna come down and into downward dog. Downward dog doesn't work for you, go to all fours. And then feel what happened. And then we're gonna come into a plank. Now you can hold a full plank. You could hold a 3-point plank if you wanted to. You can modify that plank and even hold a little bit of a 3-point modified plank. We're going to stay for 3 more breaths. Choose appropriately. Keep that low back strong. Navel and side waists in to help support your spine. We're going to take a big breath. And then we're going to lower down to the floor with control. Come into Cobra. So we're lifting with the back muscles, anchoring through the legs. Palms spread out. 2 more like that. Just little babies. Now we're going to take our right leg, lift it up. I'm going to scoot all the way to the edge of the mat and bring it around. So that right knee's going to come in. I'm laying on my back, putting the hands behind the head. I'm going to take my left elbow towards my right knee for 1, 2, 3, then come back. Bring the left knee in, extend the right leg out. You can let it rest on the floor, or you can keep it hovering. 1, 2, 3, return to the center. 1, 2, 3, return. 1, 2, 3, return. Stretch through that leg that's going away from you. 3, return. Try to keep your head pressing into your hands so your abs have to do this work. Ooh. It's not easy to do this and talk at the same time. Keep going. So we've got 2 more sets to go. Coming back, we're going to set the head down, stretch the legs out nice and long, give yourself a big reach. Oh. We're rolling back onto the belly, bringing that right leg around, coming back to Cobra, baby Cobra 3 times. Ooh, it'll feel weird. Don't push with your hands. Draw the collarbones wider apart if you can. Beautiful. Then we're coming back to down dog. Taking the right leg up. Bring the knee in towards the navel. Curl up. Stretch it back. Bring it in. Curl up. Stretch it back. Sink into the left heel if you can. Oh, and then we're going to step that right leg however far forward it goes. Bring the left one up to meet it. Come up halfway, exhale, fold, and come all the way to standing. Give yourself a big stretch. And then we'll find our way back to mountain pose and feel. How did that go, yogis? Is the right side different than the left? For me, it does feel different. Okay. So nice big breath. Lift up, come into chair pose. Again, so I put the weight back into my heel just a little bit and then forward, find the center point, and then pick the leg up to balance. And do it however it works best for you. Wind up with some furniture helping you, or even some yoga blocks. We're going to try to take that right leg back without losing the balance for a warrior 3. I keep trying to bring my right hip down, make my left hip do a little bit more work. Reach through that right leg. Oh, it's hard. 2 more. And last breath. And then we're going to step back and turn it into warrior 2. And my left leg definitely feels it. Coming back to reverse warrior and over to a side angle. And again, getting that space. So I've got this mermaid action happening. One more time. Good, we're gonna come back, extend the leg, and then take ourselves into a triangle. Again, you find your way into your triangle today. Wherever that triangle takes you today. Take a nice big breath. We're going to release the shape and take ourselves back to down dog. And again, you can go right to all fours or pause for a moment and feel. We're going to come into the plank. You could do your 3-point plank with the other side or modify your plank as you like. Just choosing a plank that works best for you so that you can work your strength rather than the collapse. Don't forget to breathe. Draw the sides of your waist in, especially on the exhales. Keep your tailbone strong and your thighs lifting. Good, last breath. And then with control, coming all the way down. Now we're going to take our hands a little farther back. So they're a little behind the chest muscles. Spread out the palms. Anchor through the legs, lift into cobra, and draw the collarbones a little wider. Come on back down. We're using just the back muscles, yogis. Lift. Draw those wide. Lift. Draw them wide. 2 more. Feel your back muscles do this work. We want to strengthen those muscles. Then we're going to scooch to the left side of the mat. Take the left leg up. Roll all the way over. And then we're on our back again. Now I love this move, but not everybody does. So you're going to do your best. Now you can bring your hands behind your head. Curl your shoulder blades up off the mat. Press the head back. And then bring both your legs up. And we're going to hug in through the sides of the waist and the outer hips as we lower the legs down, holding 4, 3, 2, 1, coming back. Now some of us have a shorter torso, longer legs, and this can put quite a strain on the low back, or there's other reasons that might happen. So you could also put your hands either underneath or beside your hip, just on the edges there. Press your upper back into the floor, drawing through the sides of the waist, and then do this with your head resting on the floor, holding steady, drawing those low abs in to help stabilize. 2, 1, and coming back, okay? So choose the version that's gonna be right for you. Glue your heels together. We're lowering down. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, return. You can shake the legs out if you like. Squeeze them together, lower. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, coming back. Good, lowering down. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, coming back. Squeeze it together, lower down. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, come on back. We got one more to go, yogis. Squeeze the legs together. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, maybe a bonus. 1, come on back. Bend your knees. Give yourself a little windshield wiper move or a little back massage, as the case may be. You can put your head back down. We're going to extend the right arm overhead, roll onto the right side. The arm becomes a pillow. You could bring the arm forward and put something underneath your head as you need. Get your hips on top of each other, shoulders on top of the bottom. keep that really stable. So sometimes there's a tendency for the hip to drop back or the shoulder to move forward. We're going to try to hold those nice and stable. Bring the feet behind you and lift them up. So we've got an internal rotation at the hip. It should feel a little bit like this lump on your femur bone, the greater trochanter, is pointing up at a diagonal. So the hip should be nice and stable. Hug in through the sides of your waist. The knees are going to open and you're either going to hold steady there for a beat and then close them back up, or you can add on to this by extending the lower leg, bringing the toes back together and bringing the knees back. If that bothers your knee to extend the leg, just do the hover. It's not worth the knee trouble. Opening, extending, coming back and closing if that's the way you're doing it, or opening, holding, coming back and closing it together, okay? So choosing the version that's right for you. Move as if you're underwater, nice and smooth. Good, we got 2 more. All right, bringing the toes together, bringing the knees together, extending both legs out. So pausing for a moment, just make sure your hips are on top, shoulders on top. We're gonna take this top leg and bring it forward. And again, whatever I just did, I wanna avoid my hip dropping forward. So you can adjust the leg in whichever way makes the most sense. Get the hips nice and squared up, shoulders on top. You can lift the arm up if you want a little bigger challenge, or you can put the hand down in front of you if you need a little more stability. Lift this bottom leg. We're gonna lift the side waist here on the bottom, and then we're gonna pulse the leg up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make a circle. 5, 4, how big a circle can you make? 2, 1, go in the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holding steady now and lifting again. 10, 9, 8. Lift that side waist. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to come back onto our back. Give everything a nice big stretch. Now, we're going to bring the feet in, and we'll do a little bit of work with the bridge pose. So this is going to be a moving bridge. We're going to go up and come back down. And so we're going to try to go up and come back down 1 vertebrae at a time. So I'm going to start at the tailbone, scoop up, try to feel myself lift. 1 vertebrae at a time up. And then I'm going to try to come down 1 vertebrae at a time. Coming down nice and slow, nice and slow, nice and slow. We'll do that if we can 4 more times. Coming up. Nice and slow. And then rolling down. Rolling up and rolling down. We're going to do that twice more. Try to go up nice and slow. Down nice and slow. See if you can really feel those little spine bones touch down 1 at a time. Last round. when you get all the way to the bottom, we're going to do the opposite side. So you could, if you don't need to move around for the screen, you can just roll right onto your left side, or you can do what I'm going to do, make a little 180-degree spin. So your left arm is extended, and you might be resting your head on your arm, or you can adjust that to a different position as needed. So I've got my hips on top, my shoulders on top, my side waist pulling in, feet come in behind, and we're going to lift the feet. So I'm going to try not to let my hip roll forward here. I'm going to use the abs to help stabilize. Open the knees, extend, bring it back, and close it in. Okay. So I'm really focusing on that work being smooth. Two more. Once we're there, you're going to extend the legs, get your hips and your shoulders back into alignment. Bring that top leg forward. Notice if the hip fell back. Make adjustments. Lift the bottom leg. We're going to hug up through the side waist there, and then we're going to pulse that leg up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold steady there. Draw a circle. 5, 4, 3. Keep the steady body. Good. Go the other direction. 1, 2, 3. How big a circle can we draw? One more time, and then we're going to pause in the center and pulse up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to bring the leg down. We're rolling onto our back. And this time, you guys, we just have to give ourselves a little bit of a rinse because we're going into Shavasana. Oh. So you can do a little happy baby or just a few windshield wipers. And then extend your legs. You can throw a pillow or blanket underneath them for a little extra support for your back. Let your arms relax. And take a few moments here to let the body completely relax. This is the pose that's for our nervous system. So we want to give our nervous system at least a few minutes to relax. Have a pillow or blanket and your low back is a little bit cranky, you can put your feet on the ground and come to a constructive rest position. See if that's a little bit better. So you just want to make sure that whichever choice you make, you're able to relax. You can notice how your body feels overall. What does it feel like to be alive right now? Just be present for your breath. Relax your face and make your eyes more kind. Let your heart be receptive. moment just to notice your breath again. Take a breath all the way down to your toes. Let go with a sigh. Wiggle your fingers and toes and your wristed ankles. Give yourself a big stretch. And then curl into a ball and give yourself a little hug and a back massage. And roll over to one side and come on up when you're ready. So thank you for joining me for some Wednesday morning yoga Pilates fusion. Let's take a big breath together. Nice big inhale. Big deep sigh. Namaste, yogis. Thanks for joining me today.